After seeing the WWE system from the inside out, it's not a player I'd want to work for. I don't feel it's very good people in charge, and I would rather leave with my, I guess, dignity, pride, intelligence intact than give up those things in order to, I mean, put it this way, I've got to wrestle with Steve Austin, I got to wrestle around with The Rock, I've been live on Raw with Vince McMahon. I've got to do what my dream was, and now getting to see what, again, from the inside out, it's just not something I really want to be a part of. And then TNA, again, not that these people don't need help or deserve help, but it's a lot of drug addicts. They employ and enable a lot of drug addicts.
Cough, cough, Jeff Hardy, cough, cough, RVD, cough, cough.
Yeah, I mean, and again, does it make you a bad person? No, but when it comes to the fact that, here's someone who's clean as a whistle, worked their ass off, and you can't catch a break after being highlighted on a show for the biggest wrestling company in the world, it's kind of like, I'm all set. I'll touch on this. I'm sure you saw that the chick who got eliminated first, what's her name? She got an OUI. So this is true. She got an OUI. She tried to bribe the police officer for $15,000 to let her off, and she's the only one with a job. So tried to bribe a police officer after drunk driving, and then lied on a police report, and the WWE found out because TMZ called for a comment. Well, the WWE suspended her for 15 days and then put her right back on the road. They basically said, here, take a 2-week vacation for drunk driving. That's just not a company that I want to be associated with. I think that's scummy. I think that if parents knew that, that'd influence how they feel. And sure, they throw some money at some of these charities and hope that it gets swept under the rug, all the other stuff. But that's scummy. I mean, there's no other way around it. That's scummy can you imagine any other profession in the world where you get an OUI and try to bribe a cop and lie on a police report and they just go, oh, hey, take 2 weeks off and then we'll let you travel around the world and pay you lots of money again.
Nope.
Yeah. So I'm all set. That's not something that I want to personally represent.
I guess that's all the questions I have, actually.
Okay, well, Luke, if you've got a few minutes, then we've got a couple questions from the Anger Marks chat room, if you don't mind answering those.
Okay. Yeah, sure, definitely.
One of the questions we had asked is, what is the biggest lesson that you learned from Tough Enough, and have you been able to use that in your wrestling career since?
Well, one of the things that Steve told me, he's like, this is actually backstage after I lost. I told him I was pissed at him, and he said, he goes, look, you have a future in this business, and he kind of said he was in a hard place, and, I really don't think it ended up being his decision, but as a wrestler, he goes, Luke Robinson is not a guy that needs to be coming off the top rope. He's like, and he understood that my personality and the fact that people, as my wrestling character, just love to hate me, he goes, that's where your bread and butter is. So it kind of confirmed one of the things that I've been doing, which is just that a facial expression can tell so much more sometimes than a move. So that was definitely one thing that I got to apply. And the other thing is just to not take it so seriously. Steve was just like, this doesn't have to be complicated bullshit. Just have fun. So after Tough Enough, my matches got better because I just relaxed. I understood that the business is such a cluster that you just can't take it too seriously. The best you can do is have fun and try to get the audience that's with you that night to have fun. So really that was the biggest lesson I took, was just to relax about everything, that you don't have to get that anxiety because, again, once you realize that you're doing it for yourself and for nobody else, you realize that you hold the power and that, life just becomes, that freedom has been invaluable for me. So when I stopped trying to be a bitch to the system, that's really what made it such an incredible change for me. I just started to have more fun with it, and and again, it sounds weird to say that not caring made it better, but it did.
All right, another question we have from our chat room. Last year, can you reflect back on how you felt when Andy Leavine was chosen over you as the winner?
Yeah, I was hurt more than anything. I worked my ass off, not just from a physical standpoint. which I did. I did tons of high-intensity interval cardio, lifting, to prepare for that show, knowing that they'd put us through the gauntlet. You know, that's the name of the show is called Tough Enough. And, you know, it's not that hard to Google some past episodes and to see, you know, what you're getting into. So I was so insulted and hurt because Andy showed up out of shape, you know, was always dogging it, didn't perform well on a physical standpoint or a performance standpoint, and I worked my ass off on both levels. I hope you can tell from talking to me. I'm a normal dude. I was born and raised on a farm in Maine. I worked my ass off to be a dick on that show. I don't think people appreciate that. They really thought that I was just that, you know, terrible person. But that was me playing my wrestling character on TV because I know, as a wrestling fan, I don't want to see someone's real personality and then see them get repackaged as something totally different. So I realized I had the opportunity on Tough Enough to play my wrestling character, so I was set up to go right into that on Monday Night Raw. And so I just thought, well, you know, again, I was hurt because it was such fun. I don't have to convince anybody. All they have to do is watch the show and know that, you know, there was nobody else who deserved or who had earned the title of Tough Enough champion. And clearly, if there was anybody else, it clearly wasn't Andy. I mean, again, that just speaks for itself. I don't need to make any points about that. All anybody needs to do is watch episode 1 through 10. That's it. And 100 out of 100 people would agree with that. If you don't, something's wrong with you. And then number 2, I just thought from a business standpoint how stupid it was because they just had someone in me who was set up. Andy wasn't finished wrestling school, for instance. I had already been working, finished wrestling school, had been working the independents. You know, they had an ability for the first time in Tough Enough history to have someone who was road ready. You know, they could throw right into a major storyline and actually legitimatize the whole franchise. So at one moment, all those things, just like, if you watch the footage, I just kind of like exhale and put my head down because I was just like, yeah, right, come on, to be on the doorstep and to have these clowns screw it up, it was devastating.
Following Tough Enough, you obviously started reworking on the indies, and you got to work with Jerry The King Lawler. What was it like to work with the King? He
is awesome. I mean, just brilliant. Keeps it simple, sweet, to the point, and just an incredible, incredible human being. But I loved working with him. Again, like, just so good at keeping it simple, but telling an interesting story. So I loved that. We never had to do anything crazy, but we always got such a wonderful reaction. So incredible human being on all levels, both in and out of the ring. Really, really good guy.
Follow up on the last chat room comment from a minute ago. Now that you've had a year to reflect on everything and seeing how things went with Andy, do you have any different thoughts from what you felt last year?
No, everything was absolutely validated. Failed the drug test, so in reality, where I had played a character of being this monster heel bad guy, in reality, he was a father of 2 who was taking steroids and, taking a way that our society says is illegal, and try to get on the road away from his family for 300 days out of the year. So the way I always saw it was he was a young guy with 2 kids that didn't really want to be at home. So the reality was where, on Tough Enough, it was, oh, he's this great family man and honorable. The reality was quite the opposite. The reality was he was the cheater, he was the irresponsible one, and I was playing a character, and in reality, I'm clean cut, come from a great family, hardworking, made all the right decisions, and it's clear from what's happened so far, they made a terrible choice. So, then to be in developmental for a year and then to finally be like, you know what, we just poured a lot of money into you and, 10 episodes of national television and you still suck. So, again, it just validated what I knew would happen. Again, watch the show. He's a boring clown. There's nothing else to say. So, I don't know what anybody else expected. I don't think anybody expected anything different. The people who hated me was because I did such a good job of playing my character. The people who loved me was the same thing. It was a love to hate. nobody can question my talent, nobody can question my performance, and nobody can question my charisma and how I fit into the wrestling world. With Andy, it was like, okay, you're boring, you lost at all the challenges, and you never did anything interesting. So it's like, what else would you expect, you know?